Lumos Maxima. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I thought we could all use a little Lumos and extra light right now with everything that's going on with the pandemic. I hope you guys are staying safe. I'm thinking of all of you. I hope that you're healthy right now. I know this is a really difficult time, so hopefully we can bring a little magic into your day. Be sure to subscribe if you're new to my channel. Hit that alert bell so you will be alerted when I post a new video. If you love Hogwarts, then you are in the right place because Book Roast is hosting an O.W.L.S Readathon. That's the ordinary wizarding levels. I am studying for my owls right now, and since Hogwarts was sent home because of the pandemic, we at Ravenclaw are a little bit lost for what to do. We need to be studying, we want to be reading. So this is perfect for Gryffindor, Slytherin, and Hufflepuff as well because all of these books are fun books, but I think that they have a little bit something extra for Ravenclaws. So if you are a Ravenclaw, write in the comments down below because I always love to meet fellow Ravenclaws. And let me know if you can think of other books that would fit the prompts that you think would be perfect for Ravenclaws. But I thought this would be really fun and escapist. So if you do not know that much about the O.W.L.S Readathon, I will let you find out more about that from Book Roast, but I will basically sum it up for you. So we are studying for our wizarding careers. The owls are right now. The newts will be in August, I think. And so then that will be a little bit more difficult. And if we complete all of those in the readathon, we will technically have everything we need for our wizarding career. I've chosen to be a writer / journalist. I thought it would be amazing to write for the Daily Prophet, but of course the Quibbler would be amazing too because I do love Luna Lovegood, and I hope that if her father's hiring that they would take me on because I think they would be fun to hang out with every day. So I will read the description for a journalist or a writer. It says, are you often found surrounded by dozens of parchment rolls, spilled ink, and various quills? Yes, that's definitely me because I do love to write. Writing stories down and making them come to life is something you live for? You might consider writing as your career. However, if you are looking into an enchanting creative writing course or you want to work as a reporter with a newspaper agency like the Daily Prophet, the below requirements can offer general guidance. So, for my owls, I will need to complete 3 courses, which is basically 3 books. And this is so cute the way that Book Roast has put this together because each course has a little prompt. So I have to find a book that fits with that prompt. I decided, since I did decide to do this last minute, I would try to choose things that were already on my TBR list that I already had laying around and I haven't picked up that I've been wanting to read and keep putting it off for some reason. And then also maybe something from the library, something from the e-library since the regular library is closed. But the e-library is a really good resource, by the way, right now. If you guys aren't signed up, I think you might be able to sign up online to your local library. So make sure you do that if you want to participate or get some new free books. The key traits for a writer or journalist would be credibility, imagination, and thoroughness. Alright, so for the first course, I have to do a history of magic. And you should see these. You guys really need to go look at Book Roast channel. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little bit of a glare. You can see it looks like parchment. This is so amazing. So, history of magic. Witch hunts, books featuring witches or wizards. I have chosen this for History of Magic. It is Wayward Son by Rainbow Rowell. It is a sequel to Carry On, Simon, which is an amazing book. So the reason that I chose this book is because it's set in a magical world. It's kind of like a wizarding school. It's called a magician's school. This is Simon Snow. This is Baz. Baz is a vampire, so it's got a little bit of Twilight vibes to it also, in a good way. Just a really fun magical story, and it's kind of tongue-in-cheek, kind of jokey. And so the reason I think it's perfect for Ravenclaws is because it is so kind of eccentric and quirky and funny. And one of my favorite lines, I actually started reading this one last night because the reading challenge started a few days ago and I'm already running late. So I thought this was really funny. It says, was Simon supposed to see it coming? He doesn't see anything coming. He's taken aback by Tuesdays. And that just made me laugh so much. I just think that the writing is so clever. Rainbow Rowell is hilarious. And an interesting side note to this is that I have a signed copy. I actually was supposed to meet Rainbow Rowell at a book signing and I ended up coming back late from a Disney World trip last fall, and so I was able to pick up my book anyway, a signed copy, even though I wasn't able to meet her. So I'm excited to read this book. I'll read you what it says about it. With Wayward Son, Rainbow Rowell has written a book for everyone who ever wondered what happened to the chosen one after he saved the day, and a book for everyone who was ever more curious about the second kiss than the first. It's another helping of sour cherry cherry scones, and an absolutely decadent amount of butter. Which I should mention that all the characters in this are British, and they're kind of, their accents and their the words that they use are kind of over the top British, which I think is even cuter. Again, I chose this because I think it's a very creative and kind of quirky offbeat book, and that goes with quirky creative Ravenclaw. Okay, next on the requirements for the writer, journalist, wizarding world career is Muggle Studies. So let me go to the description of Muggle Studies, which is a book from the perspective of a Muggle contemporary. So it has to be something set in the modern times and is from the perspective of a Muggle. So I decided to choose this book maybe this time. If you saw my Come Book Shopping With Me vlog at Barnes & Noble, you'll see that I bought this last summer. I feel awful because I haven't read it yet. I started to read it and then the Victober Readathon happened and then I just got sidetracked, and I love Casey West stories. They are always so happy and just cute and escapist, which is exactly what we need right now. So this is basically about a girl who works at a local florist and she helps plan events, and so she keeps running into this guy time after time after time, and they don't like each other at first, but of course we all know they'll probably end up falling in love. And the big reason that I chose this for Ravenclaw is because, first of all, this cover is great. She has a flower crown, and just the bicycle, it's so whimsical, which is very Ravenclaw to me. And also the fact that she wants to be a designer, which I feel like is a very Ravenclaw career. Of course we have the scientists, but then we're also known as the most creative house, and so I feel like a lot of Ravenclaws would definitely want to be fashion designers, would be good at art. Luna Lovegood was good at art, so I think this is the perfect whimsical, happy, contemporary Muggle studies read for that, and I can't wait to finally read it during this readathon. And the last prompt is another subject of your picking. So there are several things that I liked here. There's quite a few subjects like ancient runes, arithmancy, astronomy, all kinds of things. So I am going to choose among 3 books, and I'm going to just wait at the end of this readathon and just see what strikes my fancy. So I thought I would share with you my 3 possible choices because it might give you some ideas for something fun to read. Also, first class that I'm considering for that prompt is Charms, which is Lumos Maxima, which means bright light. It's basically just pick a book with a white cover. So the first one I'm considering for Charms is The Start of Me and You. It's a library book. I put it on hold. It'd be an ebook, so if it comes up, I will probably read that one. You can see that it has a mostly white cover. So I'll read the description on Goodreads for The Start of Me and You. It's been a year since it happened, when Paige Hancock's first boyfriend died in an accident. After shutting out the world for 2 years, Paige is finally ready for a second chance at high school. And she has a plan. First, get her old crush, Ryan Chase, to date her. The perfect way to convince everyone she's back to normal. Next, join a club. Simple, it's high school after all. But then Ryan's sweet nerdy cousin Max moves to town and recruits Paige for the Quiz Bowl team, of all things. Her perfect plan is thrown for a serious loop. Will Paige be able to face her fears and finally open herself up to the life she was always meant to live? So I thought this one would be fun because it sounds like the love interest is a little bit nerdy and a little bit introspective. From some reviews I read, it sounds as if he's really interested in learning, which is a perfect Ravenclaw kind of love interest, and there's some kind of something called a quiz bowl, which I guess is maybe a little bit like a trivia team. So I figured that is just perfectly Ravenclaw. It seems like the perfect book for Charms, but I also have another very, very, very Ravenclaw choice for the white cover for Charms. And that is my annotated edition of Pride and Prejudice. If you guys know anything about me, you know that Pride and Prejudice is my favorite book of all time. I am a total Janeite, total Jane Austen fan. I've been a member of the Jane Austen Society of North America. Like, I love Jane Austen, and if you love Jane Austen, tell me in the comments below because I'm always looking for fellow Jane Austen fans. But the reason this is such a Ravenclaw pick is, first of all, Lizzie to me is a total Ravenclaw. You could say that she was a Gryffindor just because she's brave and says sassy things, but the fact that she's so clever and witty about it, and the fact that she is so, like, she thinks she knows the right way. She has this idea in her head of how things are, and she has to learn over the course of the story that maybe she's not exactly right. I feel like that's kind of a Ravenclaw story, like being humbled that maybe you're not always as clever as you think you are. But her wit and banter with Mr. Darcy is just on point Ravenclaw. So aside from that, the reason this is the most Ravenclaw pick of anything I could ever talk to you about is the fact that it is an annotated edition. I got this for Christmas about a year ago, and I ended up getting the audiobook because I was really busy. I think there was a deal on it, and it was actually read by the actress who plays Jane Bennett in the 2005 Keira Knightley Pride and Prejudice, which is, it's an amazing audiobook, by the way. If you're looking for an audiobook of Pride and Prejudice, her reading is just, it's just so perfect. It's so on point. But since I already listened to that, I decided not to read my annotated edition quite yet, but I really want to get to it. It's just incredibly thick, but it is so cool if you've not seen these editions. And again, it's so cool in like a Ravenclaw geeking out kind of way, because on this side of the page, there's the actual text of the story, and on this side, it's like all kinds of interesting information about the story. Sometimes it's just like what a word means or something like that. But for instance, sometimes it'll be an analysis. I'm just picking one right here. It says, Lydia's love of gambling reveals a recklessness that her later actions will further manifest, while her particular fondness for lottery tickets, a game requiring no skill at all, reveals her lack of intelligence. So it kind of gives you like a little bit of insight about Lydia as a character. It's kind of like a director's commentary for a book. Even though the person who did this, you know, obviously didn't know Jane Austen, it's kind of like looking through and kind of telling you interesting facts that you may not have known. And so it's perfect for a book like Pride and Prejudice that I love and have read to death, and I can just learn a lot of like really interesting facts. I read the annotated edition of Persuasion for the Jane Austen Society of North America. Our local chapter was rereading Persuasion a couple years ago, and that's how I found out about these, and I just really enjoyed the experience because I felt like I learned so much more about the book. So again, learning Ravenclaw, you might want to get an annotated edition of a Jane Austen novel because these are amazing. And they are by David Shepard, in case you're looking. So I can link that down below. So the last class category is potions. Shrinking solution, book under 150 pages. And let's be honest, I might have to go with this one since it's already 6 days into the readathon, and I just started last night, so I'm already behind, even though I did read a few chapters in Wayward Son, and I'm just loving it already. But that would be this cute little 115-ish pages edition of the selected poems of Emily Dickinson. I got this one on my Come Book Shopping With Me vlog last summer too, and it's one that I kind of pushed off to the side, not because I didn't want to read it, but there's just, you know, so many books, so little time, just constantly distracted by new shiny objects. But this one is such a pretty little edition, and I think it would be perfect for Ravenclaws because I feel like Ravenclaws are so known as kind of creative, abstract thinkers. Emily Dickinson's poetry is very creative and it's very abstract. Last year I was trying to finish up my Goodreads challenge, and I had 1 day left and I had to read one more book to finish it. So I was like, what can I read that's short? I almost read this, but I ended up going with my selected Bronte poems, which has poems from Emily, Anne, and Charlotte. And I forgot how much I loved poetry when I was reading that. And I do really want to get back into reading more poetry, at least several poetry books per year, because it was so beautiful. I'd never read anything but just 1 or 2 Emily poems before. I was surprised by how much I loved Anne Bronte's poems, but I do love Emily Dickinson, so I might jump into that. I really don't know. I'm just gonna leave it up to chance, I guess, or just see how many days I have left of the readathon after I finish the first 2 books. And I'm just really excited that I chose some books that I've been wanting to read that seem very escapist and happy. I try to read escapist books most of the time, but these seem particularly fun, especially Wayward Son, because like I said, I already started this one, and I just love that it is at a magic school, and I go to a magic school, Hogwarts, so I mean, it's just a match made in heaven. Until next time, be sure to subscribe and hit the alert bell, because that way you'll be notified of all my vlogs and we can hang out during this tough time, and I will be bringing lots of escapist ideas for books and Harry Potter themed things and Disney themed things. I've got a few Disney vlogs coming up too that I still have to edit, so I will see you real soon. Bye!